January 2011 will be a month that most Queenslanders and Australians will remember for some time. It was the day that the skies opened up north and the drought we had endured for 13 years was swept away by torrential rain. The El Niño that was up until then controlling our weather patterns was replaced by La Niña, which swept moist air over the tropics and most of the eastern seaboard, and with it, rain. Rain like we have not seen for some time. Dry creek beds became gushing creeks, creeks became rivers, and rivers turned into inland oceans. The water was fierce and it was unpredictable. It was described as an inland tsunami. It smashed and washed everything away in its path. It didn't discriminate. The floods picked up cars and trucks and carried them up to 80 kilometres downstream. It tore houses from their foundations and ripped down fences and trees. The destruction was fearsome. It caused widespread havoc and unfortunately death, with water inundating farms, houses, big and small businesses, and sweeping livestock, produce and equipment before it. The waters literally roared into Brisbane on the 11th of January, and nothing could stop the might and force of the river. The Queensland Premier Anna Bligh declared a state of emergency. The federal government sent in the army to assist. Communities were cut off, power was cut off, and telecommunications were not coping. Army helicopters were ferrying people out and delivering essential items. Caught up in the middle of all of this was one of us. Yes, Tate Mason, the JVP at Oxley, suffered the brunt of the floods. He had to close his store and send his 40 staff home and watch helplessly as his business of 8 years submerged into the murky, brown, smelly waters that inundated Oxley. The water level in his street rose 4.5 metres. His underground car park went under first, then the store and everything in it. None of us can comprehend what Tate was thinking or feeling at that moment. However, it would not be hard to imagine the despair and anxiety that any of us would feel, standing by helplessly watching as his store and merchandise disappeared into the murky depths. All that work, all those hours, all that effort gone, washed away, replaced with a foul-smelling, thick brown sludge. Well, out of adversity and despair comes good. Tate is one of us. He is a good guy. And the company ethos that forges us with our JVPs is we stand by with you in times of need. And Tate really needed our help. And you will see how we pulled out all stops to assist Tate and his team. Logistically, what was faced was a nightmare. The Oxley store was trashed. No power, a thick brown, oily, smelly sludge. All the merchandising racks and pallets with fridges, dryers and washing machines had been swept away. The store looked like it had been hit by a tsunami. 95% of all stock lost. Fixturing ruined. Plus all the plaster walls and office and staff amenity areas saturated. It all had to be removed. The Oxley team were assisted by other Good Guys team members from nearby stores to clear out the merchandise. The support team had staff on site, handling the massive task of removing the fixturing and stripping out the internal structure of the store. It was 24/7 for a number of days. The floors were stripped back to bare concrete and the dryers put to work. The team spirit, the mateship, the ability to get in and help out was outstanding. The management team and support team had all bases covered, all ready to assist, ready to shoulder the load, and importantly, ready to be there for Tate and his team. Australian hearts and support poured out to the Queensland victims. The rest of Australia and the world watched in despair and awe as first Queensland regional centres went under, then Brisbane took the full brunt of what Mother Nature threw at them. It was a catastrophe not seen, and one that could not be comprehended, and one that will take years to get over. However, despite all this and the despair and loss, one thing shone through in those early days of flood relief. The Aussie spirit, Aussie mateship. It is awesome. You can't buy it, you can't bottle it. It is in us and that's what we do best. Help those that need a hand up, not a hand out.